Welcome to BeyondTheScrum, a podcast that talks about the social events that surround the game of rugby. On my first episode ever, for the first one, I'm hosting my good friend, the fans coordinator for Stanbic Black Pirates, a guy who has watched more games than me, I think, Mr. Abaasa Daniel.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome,
Good to be
sir.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone who's watching our first show. We hope that you'll be able to follow us for more. I'm glad to talk about rugby every day and at any time.
Thank you for coming, Abaasa. Thank you for also honoring, of course, being the first person to appear on this podcast. So you've broken the virginity. You've broken the virginity.
Something that I rarely do.
Yes. And of course, many people would like to know how did you come to fall in love with the game of rugby?
So, in my senior 4 VAC, all level I used to mainly be a basketball player and soccer, like every other African child, of course. But in my form 4 VAC, me and a couple of friends I had friends who used to go to rugby club. Then there was Pirates Rugby Club, and then there was Chadondo.
Yes.
So my first time I went there was actually at Chadondo. I'd gone with my friends. It used to usually be a place for plans, or plot.
Yeah.
So the rugby would be there from then. It used to start at 5 to about 6:45.
Yeah.
Then you'd go and hang out with the other people. And by going to Chadondo, I then started watching rugby and trying to figure out what was happening on the pitch. That was the first time I saw really big human beings all together in one place. So
Scrumming and big hits.
Big hits. Then I knew rugby was only for big people. It's later that I found out that everyone can play the game.
Actually, there's a lot of skill actually involved in rugby. So, yes, now you've been, of course, more involved in the game, coordinating the fans of Stanbic Black Pirates and being there. I've seen almost every game that I've gone to watch Pirates. And first of all, I want to commend you because the Pirates fans, their activity on social media, and also actually to point also to the Hippos fans, there's been a good vibe surrounding rugby and all that, and also like bringing more people who have just been bystanders. What do you say about the other fans like Hippos, Heathens, what?
I think every club has a unique demography of fans.
Yeah.
So if you see the Heathens fans, they are the Heathens being the most successful club in Ugandan rugby.
The fossils.
It has they are the fossils. It has a bigger span of fans, and their fans are older by age, but also they have watched the game a bit longer. And because of where it's located, the Heathens fans have a way of supporting. They are more active on the pitch. You won't see them a lot on social media. I think there are like 3 guys on Twitter who represent the entire club.
They are not that much active.
On the socials. But on grounds, you feel their presence. Hippos have kind of found almost a perfect balance. On ground, at the pitch, I think they are the most vibrant right now. Big up to Hippos fans if you're watching this.
I was watching on Saturday on the Pirates, cashing short. On the Pirates Hippos game, the fans were too loud. I hate the vuvuzelas you guys backed. The fans were too loud that they drowned out the whole pitch and what. But they bring, I respect them for that. They bring a good vibe, to the game, and they are also active.
I think one day they'll come with speakers for games. Actually, they're not very active on social media. They have a fans account which is extremely active.
Which is like a representation.
Media, which really takes up a lot of their space. And then for Pirates, on the other hand, the demography is mainly we are a young crowd. Most of whom have grown up in the era where there is social media. So most of the Pirates fans indeed use their social media a lot. And also, that has helped in terms of on-pitch success, fueling the online presence, and the two keep feeding in each other.
And of course, the Pirates fans being more active. I remember last season when we won the league, I said we won the league because I'm a Pirates fan. When we won the league, almost taking 2 weeks of battering the
I told someone I've never seen in my life a place where someone is harassed for 4 days in a row. It started Saturday and ended, I remember it was about Wednesday. It was so bad. Someone who doesn't watch rugby, doesn't even care what happens in rugby, said, could you guys kindly stop? This is enough for now. We get it, you guys won. But I feel like while it's painful for other fans, for the greater good of the game, it brought a lot of mileage to it.
Yeah, and I've also learned that, you know what, when it's your time to shine, please use the opportunity.
Please milk when you win, milk the win.
Milk the win, because
they won't forgive you when you lose. We won't forgive you when you lose.
When it's your turn to suffer, guys, you will suffer like nothing. So when you win, milk that win. Enjoy, of course, the banter. I usually say, you know, sometimes you have to be respectful, and of course there are some lines that can't be crossed. What do you think about that?
I think it's also important, like you mentioned, that in trying to banter or in trying to make fun of your opposition, you remain respectful. Some of the unwritten rules are: one, try to steer as far away as you can from the players. Two, do not go for people's physical appearance and the work that they do. Try to keep it as much as you can, as fun as it can be. And from positions where you catch yourself saying things that you're not sure of, just log out of social media. Come back later when you come.
Okay, and of course, as we continue, I would like to know, what do you think, you know, you've seen the social life surrounding rugby right now is like getting better. We used to have Chadondo and Legends being like, you know, the party places for, you know, after games, people would go and enjoy. But now we've seen the rise of KPA, which is becoming almost like now the center of enjoyment, the capital of Negos. What do you think, and what do you think has changed in that dynamic?
I think, one, the growth of Pirates as a club, and then the growth of Kings Park Arena. And then there are people I can never forget, shout out Massa and Nathan, the tremendous work they have done in the rugby team.
Guys call them Bajo
and Abitex. They have done a commendable job. And as you go to other venues also, they have grown. Even in Ginger at the Hippos pitch, I think because they have the availability of the back, there is fun going on there. Even when there's no rugby, there's activity going on. And that has kind of spread rugby into other communities. Now you have people who stay in Buyogere who didn't know about rugby, who had never been to Chadondo, but who now watch rugby because of Kings Park Arena. And something that we actually do intentionally at Pirates has been using the same model that got me to rugby. Some people don't come to rugby, most people actually don't come to rugby to watch the game. They come because their friends are there, because it's fun to be there, because they want to get some food after a long night on Friday, or they want to use that day as a starter. So one of the things we do is that we make sure that the other experience that luckily enough your podcast covers is so good that when people have fun, they're able to transit that into supporting the club that is there. And with time, they get to learn the sport.
I feel also like, you know, we can concentrate also on bringing as more fans to the pitch, because it's easy to convince people who are present and, you know, teach them about the game and how everything goes, and, you know, it's more easier than, you know, starting to explain the rules and whatever.
Those ones you learn along the way. Even us, who have watched rugby for some time, are still learning rules.
There are some calls that the referee makes and I can't really figure out what that is, what he meant, and all that. And
so it's a continuous learning process with rugby, at least.
And of course, looking at, you know, as the fans coordinator, I believe there are things you would want to see in the game, you know, improving from this side of us as fans. What have been like your biggest wins and also your biggest challenges in this role that you have with the Stanbic Black Pirates?
I think my biggest win has been bringing many more fans to Pirates games. From when I took up for Marcelina, who went to do her masters abroad.
Shout out to Marcelina.
Doing her masters, you study, come back with some money. Hopefully you'll enjoy it when you do. But when since I picked up from where she had left, because she had done a tremendous job herself, we have seen a rise in terms of fans at the pitch and general interest in the club. Also, one of the biggest wins has been bringing back those older Pirates fans who, for one reason or another, had kind of stopped watching rugby, but are now a bit more involved.
I think like also there's been a great deal from the Pirates fans, as of course you've explained about the age group. So it's kind of like vibe and bubbly and fun to be with. You see, like many guys, as you've said, coming back to the pitch, maybe the Nigos are inspiring people's return to watch the rugby games, and of course it's a big win for us. Now the next one I would love to talk about is social media use. We've talked about the banter and all that, and we are seeing right now in this podcast we shall be talking about events that happen outside of the pitch. Recently, of course, our club captain going through a bit of trouble with URU, and we don't know what happened exactly. But I've seen a referee also post something on Twitter. I don't know what do you think about like referees really using social media?
I think every stakeholder in rugby needs to be. We need to be careful with what we say.
Yeah.
Depending on the place where we are. Are you a fan? Are you a player? Are you a referee? Are you a URU member? Are you an ex-com member of the club? I think we are all allowed to use social media, but we are all allowed to use it in specific ways. I'll address the issue that you mentioned about Magomo and the situation he had with the union.
Yes.
I saw people saying Pirates fans have not come out to support him.
Saula media actually tagged the whole
tagged everyone, called us, we are weak. But it's important that before any of us, whether as fans or as a club or whoever it is, before we decide to engage in discussions on social media, we must first know the facts. Even us ourselves, we have made mistakes as fans where we have pointed out things before we got the full story of what happens. But with time we have learned that we need to have information and be careful. There is the 4-way test you guys do in Rotary.
Is it fair? Is it beneficial? Something like that.
Exactly. So those are the questions we have to ask ourselves before we use social media.
Yes.
Before, the way I banter you on social media isn't the same way I'm going to banter someone I do not know.
Yes.
Okay, because me and you may have zero boundaries, understanding. But him, who I don't know that way, may have certain boundaries to it. Which also brings me to the point that you mentioned. What are some of the hardships I've faced as a fans coordinator? One of the toughest things is that the fact that you're dealing with adult individuals.
Yes.
I cannot control what you post on social media. I can't tell you don't post this or don't do the other. It's you as a fan to choose what you want to post. Your suffrage age. So sometimes you'll have us fans of Pirates who will post things that are inappropriate on social media. Now the tight part of it is how to advise them without seeming looking like you're forcing them to.
And of course, adults, some use say, it's my platform, I can use it however I want.
Truly it is, but it has an effect on everyone.
On the club, yes.
So that's some of the tricky things that I've had to face as a fan.
I've been enjoying actually the banter between Arnold, the speed merchant, the mechanic with Chidega, I think.
The soft glue.
Chidega. And with Chidega, I really look forward to those tweets. And of course, it gives also a good vibe, to have rugby players from the same club, interestingly, go at each other, in a banter way. You've also seen it with, of course, like Premier League footballers. Sometimes, it comes out. What do you think?
I think it's a good thing. I also think it's important that as players, of course, the players are also humans. Okay, so they also deserve to have a lighter side to themselves. And I think it's important that they use their social medias not only for personal reasons, but also to push themselves as a brand. The rugby players themselves are not only players on the pitch; they have other lives that they live. You've seen Arnold post his work as a mechanic.
His hustle.
Recently, Fat Cats also started posting some of the work
other rugby players are doing.
Do. And so it's important that even the players themselves use their social medias for other things that are non.
And of course, it's also good to see the other side of our rugby players. You've seen, I think, Sam from the Pirates.
Sam Rubwama,
the big man with the big muscles. the human saxophone.
Yeah, human saxophone.
Yeah, of course, starring in an upcoming film. You talked about Arnold and his mechanical engineering stuff and all that. We've seen Ivan Magoma also, actually, I think, launching a clothing, something like that. I've seen some of his stuff on social media. Also, Aaron from Heathens, running that sports life and what and what. So it's also good that we are seeing our rugby players, doing stuff than outside of rugby. As we come to the close of the show, I would want to ask you, so far this season, what has been your best game of the season?
My best game always has been beating Cobs. That's obvious. It goes without mention.
The
beating Cobs is
this guy.
That's the best game. But it had too much pressure.
Yeah.
Every time they have asked me before a Cobs game, what do you think? Who will be the scorer or who will be the winner? In my heart of hearts, I know it's a hard game. Verbally, I will say, of course, Pirates will win. Yeah. But regardless of what Cobs is going through or what Pirates is going through, that game is always
I also think this season's Pirates games have all been close. Hippos, it was malaria time, and a few issues
Hippos,
here.
Heathens,
Cobs,
Heathens. What only watched Warriors?
Yeah. Warriors also being a tricky game.
I think they would have played better if they had like a jersey, but you see they're still using the old jersey.
They couldn't see themselves.
Yes, it was a bit confusing.
And of course, I think my best game, of course, would be, you already mentioned Cobs, but I would go for, I think, the Ginger Hippos, because they also talked a lot before the game.
The admin disappeared for 2-3 days. Why had gone for, I don't know, fasting.
The guy went to hibernation after we...
But he's back.
Yeah,
he was doing exams.
Shout outs to Ginger Hippos. Of course, we always enjoy the banter. Who's your best player so far this season?
My best player this season?
So far, yeah.
I'll put it this way. Personally, I've had 2 consistent players who have played all the 4 games and played them consistently. Yeah. Actually, the one who has played all the 4 games is only one. Umaru has played consistently and played well. Nathan missed the Warriors game because he had other engagements. Nathan Boambale.
Yes.
But he has also been stellar. He has been so consistent.
Natwa,
the rugby chill. He's also the organizer of the Nigos that we were seeing. So he has been, him and Umaru, to be honest, have been my most consistent players. Yeah. But in terms of those I've been excited to watch, there was Kieron Erem, the fullback who was promoted from Sailors. He's now in his senior 6-pack. Yeah. Picked up a knock in training last week, so he didn't play the previous weekend. Then, of course, Frederick Malindwa. I'd been talking so much about him. Sometimes people think I overhyped him. But he came and he played extremely well, and he put up 9 points for us. Yes. If it wasn't for Nathan's stellar performance, I believe he was up.
I think Nathan has been like an anchor for this team this season. He has been so good. I don't remember a game that he has played poorly
or been lost. Like why you haven't seen him. Yeah, there's none.
And he has taken over. And of course, Sydney Gongoli.
Remember the commentator called him Stephen
Gongoli. Yeah.
Of course, Stephen is always there.
Yeah, so Sydney has also had a good game. I don't know, we haven't utilized a lot of Arnold this season with his speed. I don't know if it's about the setup of...
I think it's how we play. I read somewhere that in the last 2 or 3 seasons, most of our points as a club have actually come from either the 8s or the centers. Rarely has it come from the wingers. Yeah. So I think speaks to how how we have been playing. I think when the ball reaches our wingers, there's hardly any team that can beat us. We have some of the best wingers in the setup.
Mr. Abaasa Daniel, my brother, thank you for coming to our first podcast. Beyond the Scrum.
Beyond the Scrum.
Beyond the Scrum, yes. Thank you for coming.
Hopefully you'll be having more episodes.
Yeah, more episodes coming through. You guys check out our YouTube channel. It's called Beyond the Scrum, and we shall also be posting on our socials on Twitter at Beyond the Scrum. Otherwise, see you next time. Ciao.